Hi, Harroop. So I know that we're just going to focus on an interview today, right? You don't want to start with the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just to kind of give everybody a bit of a background about your project, do you want to just give me a quick overview of your topic? And then I can just ask you some questions about it.
Okay. I did my topic about my family's immigration to Canada. I learned that the early Sikhs that came to Canada weren't treated really well. When the Kamagata came, they said to the Canadians said to the Kamagata said go back, and then lots of people tried to escape, but some people died. And yeah, and my great great grandfather, he immigrated to Canada before that. I interviewed my dad and my grandfather and grandmother. It was a bit tricky interviewing my grandmother and grandfather because they speak a different language.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that your project has such a strong personal connection because it makes it really interesting for you and it makes it interesting to other people when we listen to you talk about it. So you said your great great grandpa was the first one to immigrate to Canada. Do you know what he did when he moved here? Like, what was his job or where did he live? From them during
Um,
the interview.
I learned that my grandmother still had family here, and so she was happy to come. But my grandfather wasn't that really happy because he had no family or anything to um and then my dad's um I don't know.
That's okay. Yeah, I imagine it can make a big difference when you move somewhere really far away and you don't have a really good community there, that it can make it difficult to live there at the start. A challenge interviewing your grandpa because he speaks a different language. Do you want to talk about any other challenges you encountered while doing your research?
Um when I was and then my teacher was like, you have to do your bibliography, and then I had to fix it up because my other one was wrong.
Hmm. Yeah, I know sometimes the bibliography kind of goes on the back burner because it's not as much fun to write as the actual text of your project. So I think your topic's really interesting because it focuses so much on your family. Why do you think that it's important that other people learn about your topic specifically?
I think they should know what they did to the early Sikhs, how they like said to them, "You're not allowed to come," and then some of them got killed because they tried to come, but then the Canadians wouldn't let them, and then they would kill them.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really important thing to learn about too, to make sure that we can prevent something from happening that was similar to that. How do you think you're going to be able to share that message with the people around you?
Um, I don't know.
That's okay. Like I said, your project is a great start for sure, to share your family's history and to share the experience of immigrants to Canada. Um, so when you were doing research, being that your research is quite personal to you, how did you determine whether your resources for your information were reliable or
Um, I just kind I don't know. I just thought they were reliable.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's nice that you were able to talk to some people who were like primary sources, so like your dad and your grandpa, because they could probably share some really interesting firsthand information with you that you might not be able to find on a website or in a textbook. So I know when I did heritage fair projects and when I do other types of research, it's always nice to be able to talk to somebody and hear their story. So I'm really glad that you were able to do that with your project. So you kind of mentioned that the main message of your project was kind of about the immigrants' experience, the Sikh immigrants' experience in Canada. Do you think learning about that with your research and from your family members has changed your perspective on any issues surrounding immigration or anything like that? And if it has changed it, how do you think it's changed?
Mm, it didn't really change anything.
Didn't really change, just stayed the same. That's okay too. So do you want to tell me a little bit about your poster board? I noticed that you have some really interesting pictures on there. Do you want to tell me who's in the pictures? I don't know if you can either move your camera to show us your board, or you can just talk about your pictures if you want to.
Um,
Yeah, that's good too.
so here it's their early Sikhs were working at the sawmill because they would work at sawmills or like farm, I think. And then over over here, this is my great grandfather.
Which one? This one? No, this one.
Here's my great grandfather.
Mhm.
He came in Canada in 1908. And
His son.
and my dad. My dad came from England. And then here are my grandparents.
That's really cool. Do you want to tell me where you were able to find some of the pictures of your grandparents or great grandpa? Just because they're older photographs, where you found those?
I don't really know.
No, that's okay.
Sorry, I know that you're
yeah, no.
my daughter, but so I put out a call to my families asking for any pictures or anything to help with her project, and I know it's been a while since she was with me. We did it together. So that's where the pictures of her great grandfather and came from. It was from my family, as well as the picture at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the handwriting there?
That one.
Okay, yeah.
That was a money transfer. That was my cousin also sent that to me. That her great grandfather sent to India in 1910 from BC. So it was just another little piece of document. But it's been a while. But yes, I had put out a call to my family, to her extended family, to say,
yeah.
What information do we have?
That's awesome. It's so nice that you are able to kind of crowdsource information from your family too, and kind of bring together your project by talking to your family members. And it's always a great way to kind of start a conversation with a family member or reconnect with them by talking about your shared history. So it's really cool that you were able to do that for your project.
Sorry to interrupt. I just thought.
No, of course. It's always nice to have some parents come into and know that you were invested in the project as well. Yeah. Well, it's definitely, yeah.
It was her idea. Like I said, I just put out the call to family for information and just sort of where her making sure she went on reliable websites and just sort of explaining a little bit of our family history, but the rest is, Harroop was able to learn a lot that I'm sure she can tell you things that she learned that she didn't know before, but yeah, so she's just getting an understanding of how people move, right, for different reasons.
For sure.
To other countries, different because, what are you going to? Sorry, so go ahead.
No. Yeah, all good. So Harroop, I know that you made a little model for your project. I think it almost looked like a cabin or something. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
It's a sawmill.
Oh, okay.
It was what early Sikhs would work at when they would come to Canada. And work at a sawmill.
So then we could talk about it. So there's water.
Very cool.
Water.
So the logs come on the water.
The logs come through the water.
And then do they bring them into the sawmill to process them and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Very cool. I know it's always nice too when students can show a little bit of their creative element by including a model and stuff like that. So great job on doing that, Ed.
I like purple, that's why.
Purple, yeah. It's a really nice color. So It looks nice on the whiteboard too.
Thank you.
So you kind of talked a little bit about how important your project is kind of in your personal story. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about why you think it's really important in the history of Canada to learn about topics like yours?
It's like the early Sikh history, how it's important to learn about it because like what they did and like stuff. The early
Overarching for all of Canada, but it's also great that we can lace in some personal connections. Do you want to tell me what's the one most interesting thing you learned from doing your project?
I learned that my great-great-grandfather, he was one of the early Sikhs to come to Canada.
Your research process that I haven't asked you yet?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for showing us your project, Harroop. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.